Hello, the internet, and welcome to 10 years ago, when the political compass was a big thing that was considered to be something worth talking about on the internet. So, I just saw this post on the old Reddit machine, and I thought, hey, I wonder if my political views have changed over the past few years. So last I did this was around 2013 or so 8 years ago. And I remember I was exactly where Peter Kropotkin is. So I'm a liberal lefty. Or at least I was then. I don't know what I am now. Which is weird because Peter Kropotkin is kind of the patron saint of BreadTube, which, if you don't know what that means, it's a bunch of YouTubers who are communists, even though, according to this, he's not even a communist, but they are. That's Lindsay Ellis, Philosophy Tube, H Bomber Guy, and like ContraPoints, that's the other one. And cameo appearances by people like Black something. What's her name? She used to do a show called Here's the Tea or something. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not. They make really good videos, I'm not gonna lie. ContraPoints, though, I do find to be a bit just insufferable because she's so condescending. I cannot stand it. Every sentence she says is with the tone of so. No, not for me. Which is a shame because she says things that I care about, that are interesting to me, and But anyway, so I'm pretty sure the one that the political compass that I used was this one, because this looks pretty familiar. So let's go with the shuffled, just so I'm double blinded. All industry and the bank should be nationalized. Well, no. Class is the primary division of society. You see, here we get into some issues. Is class the primary division of... Yeah, as opposed to what? What about age? Right? We put kids in schools and not adults, so no. Although I know what this actually means. They're talking about, or I know the way intention doesn't matter, interpretation matters with quizzes like this because everyone is compared relative to everyone else. So, on the one hand, auth leftists. Okay, I shouldn't judge it by that metric either. I should just judge it by... I should interpret it in the way that most people will interpret it and offer my own opinion and not the opinion with which I want to be associated or disassociated. So, no. Yes. Because most people will see this as, will see the other divisions of society as gender, race. They're not going to think of age. They're not going to think of nationality even. So for the purposes of, you know what? Neutral. Organizations and corporations cannot be trusted and need regulating by the government. Well, I agree they can't be trusted. And I agree they need regulating by the government. Agree. Not strongly. Not strongly. Because there are, yeah. I think we're kind of, and I'm basing this on Namibia. I think we're kind of in a situation where we have the correct amount of regulation. It's just not in the right place. Because corporations are regulated too little and small businesses are regulated too much. So, agree. Laws based on cultural values rather than ethical ones aren't justice. Yes. Yes, strongly agree. Strength is necessary for any government to succeed. I don't know if I should comment on the previous one. Everybody can agree and still be wrong. That's the reasoning for that. Strongly agree. Strength is necessary for any government to succeed. Well, strength is necessary for anything to succeed. So what's your point? Or strength is necessary. Fucking dogs howling outside. God damn it. Gotta put up with a terrible connection, and now I gotta put up with this shit it's like every hour at night I hear this. I hope you can hear it. If a government wants to succeed, yes, it's necessary. Unless you're like in Scandinavia. Depends what you mean by succeed. Is it but what are the criteria? Disagree. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to... Well, god damn it. Yes. No. Because you can fear manipulation even if you have nothing to hide. So, disagree. I think this is one point where I would have changed my opinion over time. In principle, I agree with this very strongly, because I really don't think there's an interesting philosophical discussion to be had over this. I really think things that are not shameful in private should not be shameful in public. I didn't come up with that sentence. It doesn't sound like a famous quote, but it should be. So we should be able to talk about sex. We should be able to express sex and other things that people are squeamish about. Because you wouldn't be... It's not a secret, it's not something to be ashamed of to be involved in sexual activity. So what's the problem with talking about it? So in that sense, I strongly agree. But in terms of, because this is a political compass, I would have to say disagree. The current welfare system should be expanded to further combat inequality. You see, expanded is the problematic word here. You know what? In Namibia, when was it? I think in 2017 or something. Probably, no, I think longer ago than that, 16 maybe. There was a big to-do in the media about a proposed solidarity tax. And that is one of my favorite events in the world. Everybody was, before that was a concept that was introduced. Everybody was like, yeah, you must help the poor people, and oh, they're so downtrodden, and we must help them. Oh, look how bad things are for them. The government has to do something. Okay. Well, how about, and this is the way that it was formulated was perfect. We have, and it's just a way. I'm sure there's arguments to be made about margins and so on, but it was very basic. We take the average national income per capita. If you make more money than this, then considerably, not like if you're at 51%, then you get charged solidarity tax, but it was somewhere there. It was close to that. Or no, it was in fact 50%. If you make more than the average per capita income in the country, then you pay extra solidarity tax, and it goes in the same. It goes proportionately to people who make less than that, right? That's why it's called solidarity. You have money, you automatically give it to people who are less fortunate than you, right? And everyone's like, no, the money is mine. Well, why must I give it? Well, why must I give it to the government? Well, you're not giving it to the government. You're giving it to poor people. No, the money is mine. So if I have to give something, then fuck the poor people. When I said that something must be done, I didn't mean I must do something. I didn't mean I have to sacrifice something. I just meant, somebody should do something. So I was in favor of the solidarity tax all the way, with caveats like obviously things should be put in place in order to stop politicians from just pocketing the money. But yeah, so that's why I can't take people seriously. I can't take communists seriously, because when it comes around to you actually doing something, you don't. You just mean other people should do something and then feel high and mighty. This is getting much more vitriolic than I intended. Anyway, the current welfare system should be expanded to further combat inequality. Yes. State schools are a bad idea because our state shouldn't be influencing our children. No, because if things work the way they're supposed to, we should be influencing the state, and in turn the state should be influencing our children and other people's children who maybe can't afford education. On the other hand, I don't know. I guess I like. I hate this expression, but my gut says yes. I think I'm leaning libertarian on this question. Let ideas fight it out. Yeah, I kind of agree. Drugs are harmful? Well, yeah, they're harmful and should be banned? No. So I half agree with this, because they shouldn't be banned, although they are. I mean, who can say they're not harmful? If it was drugs should be banned because they're harmful, then I would say strongly disagree. But yeah, disagree. The government should be less involved in the day-to-day life of its citizens. Yes. Although, is it really involved? Like with COVID, man. People are stupid. You know what? People will not even do the right thing for themselves, man. Like, I work at a big company that's about to fire me, maybe. People will not help themselves. The main thing that people consider to be the biggest problem about like big corporations and financial institutions and so on is, oh, they're so greedy and they take people's money and they go do their bonuses and the 2008 financial crisis and so on. Yeah, that's a concern. Okay, I'd be lying to say if I said I haven't seen that kind of tendency. But that's not the biggest problem of big corporations, and this includes governments as well. Any corporation that has more than maybe 200 people, what's the guy's name? Somebody's number. It's someone's number. A guy who said you can only really know 150 to 200 people. When a company gets bigger than that, things stop making sense. The nonsense just becomes, it's like an element that rises from the abyss under the earth and steams up in the buildings. And you can't get rid of it unless you really, really try, and nobody really, really tries, because in order to get rid of the nonsense, you have to first admit, as a person in a higher position in that kind of place, in order to get rid of the nonsense, you first have to admit that the nonsense exists. And when you admit that the nonsense exists, that means you have been failing at your job, and you don't want to admit that. So you just let the nonsense fester until the company disappears eventually. But by that time, if you are smart enough to have seen, and these people are not stupid, if you're smart enough to see what's coming, you're gone. And welcome 2008 financial crisis. So, the problem with corporations is that they remove your common sense. You have to play by different rules. It's a microcosm where things are put in place for some reason, and okay, I'm not going to continue that because I'll be here for hours. That's probably going to be another video. The government should be less involved in the day-to-day life of its citizens. In principle, yes. Yes. We pay too much taxes. Politicians get their fucking BMWs. But there are caveats, so not strongly agree, just agree. One cannot be moral without... fuck you. Once again, depends on how you define religion. You have to have a code, but that's just the same as saying one cannot be moral without being moral. Religion is, to quote the late great Hitchens, religion poisons everything. Faith is belief in things for which you have no good reason to believe in. Remove that element from religion, I'm all for it. We can have moral, philosophical, ethical debates with trolley problems, the updated version of which is Thanos. We can talk about that. So if you consider humanism, which every day I've kind of redefined the phrase for myself. I'm a humanist in the way that white supremacists are white supremacists, because I do believe that humans are supreme on this planet, at least. So if that's a religion, then I take back my previous answer. An individual's body is their own property, and they should be able to do anything. Yes, I understand, which I didn't when I took this test 8 years ago. I understand the impulse to disagree with this, because your existence does make you owe something to other people. That's a whole big other discussion that I might do a video on. In fact, this might be a video from which many branches sprout. We'll see about that. So, yes, strongly agree. A government that provides for everyone is an inherently good idea. Yes. Yes. Taxation of the wealthy is a bad idea. Society would be better off without it. Why? Look, this is getting into communist sympathizer territory. But why is there no maximum wage? I know, because people won't be motivated to make more money. Well, maybe they shouldn't. Yes, many people are motivated by money, but maybe those are not the people that we should be encouraging to make the greatest businesses in the world. Maybe there should be another kind of currency. So taxation of the wealthy is a good idea. Strongly disagree. Homosexuality is good. It's not a value. It has nothing to do with values. I'm getting mad at the quiz now. Disagree. Only the government can fairly and effectively regulate organizations. Well, that's not true. No. Exploitation is an outdated term, as the struggles of 1800s capitalism doesn't exist anymore. No. The police was not made to protect the people, but to uphold the status quo. Yes. 100%. And a side effect of that is protecting the people. But it's to uphold the status quo. Motherfucking yes. The government should at most provide emergency services and law enforcement. At most? I don't know about at most. I see. Yeah, this is a bit. This is a libertarian issue again. No. I don't know. I haven't thought about this enough, but my impulse is to say disagree. Transgender individuals should not be able to. Why? Multiculturalism is bad. Why? Victimless crimes should... You know what? The multiculturalism is one of the greatest things. Because why are we here? Why do we exist? When I say we, I mean any one generation in the planet, on the planet, in the planet. We are an extension of evolution. Every society is a microcosm of evolution. That's what sociology is. And the more variation there is, i.e. multiculturalism, the greater the chances that one, good parts of cultures, whatever they happen to be, will survive, and bad parts of cultures will go extinct. Multiculturalism is a great thing. Victimless crime should still be punished. No, why? It's not a crime. Authoritative figures, if morally correct, are a good thing for society. Yeah. Yes. I'm a bit apprehensive about this. Nudism is perfectly natural. Yeah. Wages are always fair as employers know best what a worker's labor is worth. Well, they might know it, but that doesn't mean they're going to give them the money. And also, they don't know it. So, no. I don't know if it's disagree or strongly disagree. You could this is just a bad argument. You could make a good argument for this. I still am on the disagree side, but this is just lazy. Disagree. Economic inequality is too high. Well, too high compared to what? Again, my impulse is to say yes, but too high compared to what? Yes, it is too high. I would like it to be much lower, so agree, but also I don't like the question. In times of crisis, safety becomes more important than civil liberties. I kind of have to agree in principle. So, yeah. Autonomy of body extends even to minors, the mentally ill, and serious criminals. Yes. Yes. Sometimes it's right that the government may spy on its citizens and combat extremists and terrorists. To combat extremists. Sometimes. Sometimes. Land should not be a commodity to be bought and sold. Why? You know, I like the idea. I don't know if I'm sure somebody's had this idea, and maybe it was shot down because it's stupid. So I might be about to say a dumb thing, but anyway, I'm not claiming to be a moral or philosophical authority here, and also, yeah, never mind. Land should not be a commodity to be bought and sold. I kind of like the idea of. Well, let me put it this way. I do not like the idea of estates. As in, when you die, your legacy is passed on to your children. Because that just creates lazy people. Let your children learn from you as much as they can for free, and then reclaim the legacy. Maybe your children are idiots, and they don't, in which case they don't deserve your legacy. And maybe if they're idiots, then you didn't do your job properly as a parent. Now maybe that's worth it for you, or maybe you were so dedicated to your whatever you're doing and writing books or whatever it is that makes your estate worth so much that you decided not to have children. So if you're the best at what you do, so dedicated that you have no family, you're just a single guy, you're working for the future, the years of your life you're working towards the future of humanity, you're so selfless you don't have children, and then when you die, what happens to your wealth? It goes to the government. Whereas if you're not so good at it, then it goes to your children. It doesn't make sense. Land, the same argument can be made for land somehow. I know I can't really work out the syllogism in my head at the moment, but you're a smart person if you're watching me and you've still watched up until now in this video. Oh, 30 minutes in this video. So yeah, strongly agree. Should not be bought and sold. It should be like rented. As long as you're alive, you have this piece of land. That's kind of the way they did it in the old country. Whatever happens, you have a house. It's illegal to be homeless. It's illegal to be unemployed. And if you like lose your job for some reason, you go to the government, the next day you have a job. They're not going to pay you much, like the old saying goes in the old communist countries. Communism is where the workers pretend to work and the boss pretends to pay them. But at least you're not starving. So, Strongly agree. Journalification should be legal. I don't know. I don't understand this question. I have an idea about what journalification is, but no. Charity is a better way of helping those in need than social welfare. I'm not so sure. I give to charity, not a lot. I'm not being like high and mighty here, but like if some money goes off my salary every month. I think I'm one of like maybe 10 people in my company, the company that I work for, who does that. So I do believe in charity. I don't know if it's better, man. I wanna. I don't know. I'm inclined to disagree with that, actually. Okay, communism is an ideal that can never work in practice. Yes. Look, the standard argument is, well, it has never worked, and that's true, depending on how you define communism. One thing that doesn't take into account is China, which is communist. They've just adopted capitalist practices like competition and so on. So, actually, not even that. They're definitely authoritarian, but I would not necessarily call them communist. If you know stuff about political theory and what exactly these terms mean, go ahead and tell me I'm wrong in the comments. That's in the way that I define the terms. China is not exactly a communist country. It's just extremely authoritarian. So how does that relate to this question? It can never work in practice. Yeah, it can never work in practice, so strongly agree. Freedom of business is the best practical way of society can prosper. I don't know about the best, but I'm inclined to agree. Let people pay whatever they want for whatever they want. The death penalty should exist for certain crimes. Look, sometimes capital punishment, though not the death penalty, is the least bad solution to a situation. I do not like the phrase death penalty because it should not be a penalty. There is no crime. There is no crime for which death is the right answer. For which death is the appropriate solution. Even if you work it out mathematically, however, capital punishment is even worse. Never mind. Okay. There are some situations in which the least bad course of action is to end the perpetrator's life. However, that should not be a punishment. It should be decided on entirely utilitarian grounds. It's not a penalty, it's not a punishment. So in this case, I would say this again, this is not the way people will read this question. I'm reading it literally. Should exist. Yeah, okay, so I'll say agree. It's human nature to be greedy. Yeah. Not strongly, though. Gender is a social construct, not a natural state of affairs. Well, look, you can open a fucking dictionary. by definition, gender is a social construct. There was a nice philosophy tube video where she said, she was quoting somebody on Facebook or someone who said, who was, so philosophy tube Abigail Thorne was quoting a comment on Facebook which was a response to the question, is motherhood a social construct? And somebody had commented on that saying, me getting pregnant and squeezing the baby out of my vagina was not a fucking social construct. Yes, that's not a social construct, but that's not motherhood. Is that motherhood? So the fact that that happened, that's just biology, right? Physics even. But the idea that that makes you a mother is a social construct, because there are certain roles, like gender roles, that a mother is expected to fulfill, different from different societies and in different times, etc. But we all understand what it means, the word mother. It could just not be that way. We might have been living, I don't know how realistic this is, but it doesn't matter. Just the mere possibility is enough to make my point. We could be living in a society like, what's the Born of Man? There's a book which I haven't read, but I know what it's about, which speaks about a society where men can get pregnant, and you know what happened as a result of that. I should buy that, by the way, and read it. It sounds like up my alley. Anyway, so, you know, biological stuff are natural. Gender stuff are social. This applies to animals as well. So, yeah, it's a social construct. Two consenting individuals should be able to do whatever they want with each other, even if it makes me uncomfortable. Yes. Like, this is usually in reference to homosexuality and stuff. Let's leave the transgender issue out of it. So, I do not understand how a woman can be attracted to a man. I'm not attracted to men. I don't understand how anyone could be. I don't understand how a man could be, and I don't understand how a woman could be. I don't understand how women can be attracted to me, but apparently some of them are. Who am I to, question that? I'm not gonna, before having sex with a woman, I'm not gonna say, listen, you're disgusting because you find me attractive. That's the logic that's the logic of homophobia. So, how something makes you feel is not a basis for morality. Animals deserve certain universal rights. Certain universal rights. I believe there is a spectrum of consciousness. And consciousness is what determines... this is not... I'm speaking as if this is like my own idea. It's not. I don't know exactly where I got this, but, animals are less conscious than humans. Therefore, they deserve some rights, fewer rights than humans, but some rights. Same applies to fetuses, but I'll just leave it there. We're not going to get into that. You can fill in the blanks there. So, yes, they deserve certain universal rights. Society requires structure and bureaucracy, not... Fuck you. It does require structure, but not bureaucracy. So, disagree. Mandatory IDs should be used to ensure public... Why? Smaller the government, the freer the... Well, yes, that's by definition, isn't it? A person should be able to worship whomever or whatever they should be able to. Yeah, I mean, yes. Without democracy, a society is nothing. I like democracy, and not just because, like, I understand, as I think I've alluded to previously in this video, I understand the impulse toward aristocracy. But, you know, this will probably be the most controversial thing I'll say on this video. I think some people's votes should count for more than others, based on their, not level of education, but based on their education. I guess that is democracy, isn't it? Because you elect people to speak on your behalf who are supposedly a better version of you in a sense. So, you know, I'm inclined to agree. You can certainly have a society without democracy, so in that sense I don't agree. But, so, you know what, man? I'm gonna answer the questions as they are. I would prefer very strongly to live in a democratic society, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible for non-democratic societies to exist. So, disagree. The harder you work, the more you progress up the social ladder. Yeah, I mean, there is a correlation, although it's nowhere near the list of top things that determine that. You gotta kiss some ass. That's what it is. You gotta close your eyes to certain things. That's really the thing that determines your progress. So, the working hard is a factor. So I gotta say I agree, although not strongly. Parents should hold absolute power over the children as they're older. Well, yeah, they are, and they have some power, but not absolute power. I mean, fucking what's the point? Look, you can't progress as a society if you just do everything in your power to make your child a clone of yourself. Number one, because you can't. And when you fail, you will end up with, that's the modern equivalent of throwing your kid out of the walls of like a Spartan city. Sparta, which is a city, or was a city. Is it still a city? Because then they're just gonna do everything in their power to disobey what you're gonna do, and you simply do not have absolute power over them. So you can't do that. And if you succeed, it doesn't work, and if you fail, it doesn't work. So absolutely disagree. Okay, let's see where I am. Yes, and I'd like to help with ideology assessment. Yeah, let's help with the help anonymously help. No, not yet. No. Let's just do the thing. I'm still there. Okay. I'm a little bit more to the center. I was around here before. Where was I? Peter Kropotkin. I was like 4 down and 6, 8, 7. 4 down and 7. So I was more economically. I was more to the left than I was libertarian. Now I'm almost the same amount of almost. I'm more of a centrist now, and I'm more progressive. Yeah, so no surprises here. based on how this is formulated, of course. So yeah, let's save this. Okay, cool. Let's do the 8 values one while we're here. Click here to start. Got it. Okay, I'm not answering 70 fucking questions. Alright, so here's how I've moved. And you can consider this to be a paint tutorial as well. I was pressing Control now. I was 4 down and like 6. One more. Okay, then we're gonna do like a little arrow thing, and that's gonna be the thumbnail for this video. Inception. How do you do a thing? You know what? I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, let's choose the exact color. Size will be like this, and then put that guy over here. Nope. Okay. There is our thumbnail. Just gonna quickly no one cares about this stuff. Okay, we'll end the video here, and I'll tweak the thumbnail for the next like 2 minutes. Okay, thanks for sticking through. See you in the next one.